Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take a bunch of research, articles, books, and our own thinking, boil it all down, and give you the key insights so you can get informed fast. Today, we're tackling a really big one. Eric Ries' book, The Lean Startup. It pretty much changed the game for how businesses get started and innovate. Our goal here is to dig into why it was so important, why it's still relevant, and what you can actually take away from it. You got to remember the context. Back in 2011 when it came out, the startup world was, well, it was kind of a mess in some ways. Companies would spend ages, like years sometimes, building something in secret.
Yeah, totally behind closed doors.
And then they'd launch, and maybe crickets. Customer needs were changing super fast. Markets felt totally unpredictable.
Right. And technology was there to let you iterate quickly, but not everyone was using it that way.
Exactly. So the Lean Startup landed right in the middle of that and said, hey, there's a different way.
It really did. And what Ries did so cleverly was borrow from lean manufacturing.
Yeah.
The Toyota system.
Right. Minimize waste, continuous improvement.
Exactly that. He took those ideas about efficiency and applied them to the inherent uncertainty of launching something new. It wasn't just a minor tweak. It was like a whole new entrepreneurial playbook.
Yeah.
Forget the massive, rigid business plan. This was all about experimentation, agility, and actually using data, data-driven decision-making. It shifted how people thought about risk.
Okay, let's unpack this book that truly revolutionized how businesses, big and small, approach innovation. And maybe the best place to start is how Ries even defines a startup. It's pretty crucial.
Oh, definitely.
He called it a human institution designed to create a new product or service under conditions of extreme uncertainty. That extreme uncertainty part feels key.
It absolutely is. That definition is so powerful because it just expands the whole idea. A startup isn't just like two people in a garage anymore. It's any venture seeking to innovate.
So like a new team inside a huge corporation.
Yeah, or a government project, a nonprofit trying a new program. Anything where you don't have all the answers up front. That means you listening could probably apply these ideas, even if you're not, aiming for Silicon Valley fame.
Right. So how do you navigate that uncertainty? Well, Ries puts this thing called the build, measure, learn feedback loop right at the center. It's kind of the engine of the whole method, isn't it? Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, it's the heart of it. And it sounds almost too simple, but it replaces those really long, often wasteful development cycles. Instead of planning everything for years, you break it down into quick cycles. First, you build...
Not the whole thing, right?
No, you build an MVP, a minimum viable product, the absolute simplest version you need to test a core idea, a hypothesis. It's not about being fancy. It's about learning something specific.
Okay, build the MVP, then what?
Then you measure. You put it out there, maybe to a small group, and you collect data. You watch how real people actually use it. Where do they click? Where do they get stuck?
So real-world feedback.
Exactly. And then you learn.
Yeah.
You look at that data and figure out, okay, was our initial idea right? Based on what you learned, you make a call. Do you pivot? Which means making a significant change in direction because the data said your idea was off.
Yeah.
Or you persevere. The data looks good, your hypothesis seems right, so you keep going, refining and improving that product based on the feedback.
It's this continuous cycle then. Build, measure, learn, repeat.
Precisely. And the beauty is it reduces the risk of building products no one wants. That classic trap, right?
Yeah.
The solution looking for a problem.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because this loop is deceptively simple, but incredibly powerful. Let's break down some of those key pieces, maybe starting with the MVP, the minimum viable product. That term is everywhere now. It's probably the book's most widely adopted concept.
It really is, though sometimes misunderstood.
How so? People think it just means unfinished.
Kind of. But Ries's point wasn't just build less. It was build just enough to learn. It's a functional prototype, yes. But its main job is to test hypotheses about customer behavior. The goal is maximal learning with minimal effort. It's not meant to blow customers away initially. It's meant to get you those crucial insights.
So it forces you to be really clear about what you need to test first.
Exactly. Think about Dropbox. Their first MVP wasn't even software. It was a video.
A video?
Yeah, just a simple video showing how file syncing would work. They put it online to see if people would even sign up for something like that before they built a complex backend. That tested the core demand.
Smart. And Airbnb.
Similar story. Started with just air mattresses on their own floor during a conference. Tested the idea, would people pay to stay in a stranger's home? Minimal effort, maximum learning.
Okay, so you've built the MVP, you've measured. Now, the learn part. Ries calls this validated learning. What makes it validated?
Good question. It's about getting proof, not just opinions or assumptions. Validated learning is the hard evidence you get from those real-world experiments with actual customers. It forces you to move past your own biases or what you think people want. Ries pushes you to ask, what are our biggest assumptions here? How can we test those quickly and cheaply? Are we actually learning what customers need?
So it's like applying the scientific method to building a business.
That's a great way to put it. Hypothesis, experiment, data, conclusion. It takes some of the emotion out of it, which founders definitely need sometimes.
Yeah, it's easy to fall in love with your own idea. Now, another trap Ries points out is vanity metrics.
Oh yeah, the dangerous ones.
Like huge download numbers or website visits that look good on paper but don't actually mean your business is working.
Right. They don't tell you if people are engaged, if they're paying, if they're sticking around. So how do you measure real progress?
That's where innovation accounting comes in, right?
Exactly. It's Ries's term for a rigorous method to track things that actually matter. It's about defining actionable metrics and tracking learning milestones. So instead of just page views, you might track, say, the percentage of users who complete a key action, or the customer retention rate, or even how much it costs you to run an experiment cycle and learn something new.
Things that show genuine progress towards a sustainable business.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Gives you a real quantitative foundation for making those tough decisions.
And the biggest decision is probably pivot or persevere. You use that validated learning, those real metrics, to decide change course or stay the path.
It's the moment of truth in the cycle. Persevere means your experiments are validating your strategy. Keep going, optimize, iterate.
But pivot.
Pivot means the data shows a fundamental part of your strategy isn't working. You need to make a significant structural change based on what you learned. And crucially, Ries stresses that pivoting is not a failure. It's smart. It's an intelligent response to validated learning. You learn something important, so you adjust.
Can you give an example of a type of pivot?
Sure. There's the zoom-in pivot.
Yeah.
Maybe you launched a product with 10 features, but validated learning shows customers only really love and use one feature. So you pivot to focus entirely on that single high-value feature.
Makes sense. Ditch the noise.
Or a customer segment pivot. You built the product for, say, college students, but you find out that actually small business owners are adopting it like crazy. So you pivot to target that new segment.
Got it. Adapting based on reality.
There's also the platform pivot, shifting from maybe a single application to offering a platform others can build on. Lots of ways to adjust course intelligently.
It's pretty clear how this methodology just took off. You see it everywhere now, not just startups, accelerators, VCs.
Absolutely everywhere. It's standard practice in places like Y Combinator and Techstars.
Yeah.
But what's really striking is its adoption in big established companies.
Like GE you mentioned.
Yeah, GE's FastWorks program was heavily influenced by lean startup. Intuit is another big example. They use these principles for internal innovation all the time.
Even the U.S. government. That's surprising.
Right. Initiatives like 18F and the Presidential Innovation Fellows explicitly use lean, agile methods to improve government services, trying to bring that startup speed and customer focus into bureaucracy.
Wow. And beyond corporations and government?
Nonprofits, schools, healthcare, anywhere, resources are tight, and you need to figure out what works without betting the farm on one big launch. The core ideas about managing uncertainty and learning quickly are pretty universal. It really has changed the whole conversation around how new ventures approach risk, experimentation, and customer discovery. It's a global phenomenon.
Okay, so it's clearly influential. Let's talk strengths and weaknesses. What makes the book so good? Why did it resonate so much?
Well, first off, it's just so practical and actionable. The framework's MVP, build, measure, learn, pivots, you can literally start using them tomorrow.
Right, it's not just theory.
No. And as we said, it's applicable beyond startups. That broad relevance is huge. It was also a massive cultural shift catalyst. It helped kill the obsession with the perfect 50-page business plan up front and shifted focus to agility and customer feedback.
The writing style helps too, I think.
Definitely. It's clear, engaging writing. Ries uses his own startup stories, good case studies, mixes them with the practical tools. It makes it very readable.
And there's a mindset piece too, isn't there?
Yeah, fundamentally, it encourages a growth mindset. Failure isn't final, it's data. It's a chance to learn and pivot. That's a powerful reframing, especially for entrepreneurs facing constant setbacks.
Okay, those are compelling strengths, but no framework is perfect. What are some of the common critiques or limitations of the lean startup?
Fear points exist, for sure. One common critique is that it's limited on scaling strategies. It's fantastic for finding that initial product market fit, but it offers less guidance on how you actually grow the business, manage a larger team, build moats, that kind of thing.
So more focused on the startup phase than the scale-up phase.
Kind of, yeah. Another is the oversimplification risk, particularly around the MVP.
Ah, back to the unfinished product idea.
Exactly. Some teams might use MVP as an excuse to ship something that's just bad and doesn't actually facilitate any meaningful learning. Ries emphasizes the V viable. It has to work well enough to test the hypothesis.
Makes sense. What else?
There's industry variability. Let's be honest, running rapid experiments is way easier and cheaper for a software app or a website than it is for, say, building a new airplane wing or developing a medical device.
Right. The cost and time per iteration can be vastly different.
Hugely different. So while the principles might apply conceptually, the practical execution gets much harder in certain physical or highly regulated industries.
And one more.
Some people find it somewhat repetitive. The build, measure, learn cycle is the core message, and it gets hammered home quite a bit. For some readers, that feels redundant.
Though you could argue that repetition helps it stick.
You could, absolutely. Depends on the reader.
So, weighing the pros and cons, who really needs to read this book? Who's the target audience?
Well, the obvious ones are startup founders, especially early stage, product managers trying to be more agile, investors, VCs trying to understand the startups they fund,
Okay.
but also folks in corporate innovation roles. Educators, teaching entrepreneurship, it's practically required reading in many programs now, and social entrepreneurs, nonprofit leaders. Anyone trying to create something new under uncertainty.
So, if you're involved in building anything new, basically, or if you're just like super curious about how innovation works today.
Pretty much sums it up. It's foundational knowledge for that space.
You know, there are some quotes from the book that just stick with you. They really capture the essence, like this one. The only way to win is to learn faster than anyone else. That feels so true in today's world.
It really cuts through the noise, doesn't it? It's not just about being busy. It's about the speed of validated learning.
And a startup is a catalyst that transforms ideas into products. It frames the startup not just as a company, but as a process.
A transformation engine, yeah. Taking something intangible, an idea, and making it real through that iterative process.
And maybe my favorite because it's so blunt. If we're building something nobody wants, it doesn't matter if we're doing it on time and on budget.
Oof, yeah. That one hits hard because it challenges the traditional metrics of project management. On time, on budget, great, but useless if the core premise is wrong. These quotes resonate because they fundamentally shift the focus from execution efficiency alone to learning efficiency. Are we efficiently learning what works? That's the real question Ries pushes us to ask. It's why the ideas feel timeless.
So what does this all mean for us, and what's the lasting legacy? Wrapping things up, what's our final take? Our final verdict is a solid, let's say 4.7 out of 5. It's undeniably foundational reading for modern entrepreneurs, innovators, anyone in that sphere. It really challenged old ways of thinking, gave us a repeatable system, and maybe most importantly, a mindset for dealing with uncertainty using data and speed.
Absolutely. Its legacy and influence are immense. It didn't just sell well, it launched the global lean startup movement. It paved the way for other essential books building on its ideas, lean analytics, the startup owner's manual, running lean. And like we said, it's baked into the DNA of accelerators like Y Combinator and Techstars. It fundamentally changed the conversation about how you build something new and succeed.
Okay, so this deep dive really highlights that the lean startup isn't just about building faster, it's about learning faster. So maybe a final thought for you listening. What's one assumption, just one that you're making right now in your work or even your life? And how could you test that assumption quickly and cheaply to get some real validated learning? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the lean startup. If you found this valuable, please do like, share, and subscribe. We'll catch you next time with another exploration.